Just going to go through how the unemployment rate is calculated and then the labor force participation rate. So the way the unemployment rate is calculated is the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the same entity that did the CPI, surveys 60,000 households. Now a household can be more than a person, so this is actually over 100,000 people. And they ask a few questions. First, they're going to only survey adults, and they assume adult is someone who's 16 years or older, being that in most places, once you're 16, you can legally work. And then you get dropped into one of three buckets. So when you get surveyed, if you're currently working, notice there's no distinction between part-time or full-time, or you work for a family business, you don't actually get paid like on a farm. If you're working, you're considered employed. Unemployed individuals are people that are not working but have looked for work in the previous 4 weeks. So this is a key component, that to be considered unemployed, you have to have actively looked for work within the last 4 weeks. And then not in the labor force, this is anyone else. This would be someone who, let's say, is retired, they're not looking, they're not employed. Someone maybe that graduates from high school, takes the summer off before they start college. Someone who just volunteers, that would be not in the labor force. So the labor force is kind of like your labor resource in the economy. So how much labor do I have to work with? Well, you have the employed individuals count as part of the labor plus the unemployed. So the way to look at it is like you're almost like a machine force. If you're counting, what's the amount of machinery I have to work with, you would count the machines that are currently running or on plus the ones that could run. So it's kind of like this for the labor resource. Employed are like the machines that are running, and then the machines that aren't currently running but could run would be the unemployed. Notice not every single adult is going to be in the labor force. For example, retirees wouldn't be in there. So how is the unemployment rate calculated? The unemployment rate is actually the percentage of the labor force that's being utilized. So just a quick note on the unemployment rate. It's not based off the whole adult population. So when you see something like, the national average for unemployment is 4.2% or something like that, that doesn't mean 4.2% of all adults are looking for work or are currently unemployed. That means 4.2% of the labor force is currently not being utilized. Remember, the adult population includes a lot of individuals that are out of the labor force, like retirees or disabled individuals and so forth. So another statistic that's useful would be to also calculate the labor force participation rate. And then really what this is it's the percentage of your adult population that is participating in the labor force. Typically, we'd like to see high labor force participation rates because that means a lot of people are either working or they're looking for work, but they're participating in the labor market. Low labor force participation rates mean maybe a lot of people are retired in your population, you have an aging population, you have a lot of people that have become discouraged and just given up looking for work. So typically, we like to see high labor force participation rates and low unemployment rates. We'll do a numerical example next on how to actually calculate both these statistics.